Now.
Okay.
Hi, Lauren. Nice to see you again. Here we are on a beautiful afternoon and a lovely evening for you, Lauren.
Yeah, back again. Friday evening here in America. Saturday for you.
Saturday afternoon for me. Yes, absolutely stunning day here in Australia, and I see it must be a
Cheers, Cher.
Yes, let's have this cup of tea and let's talk about some things about what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yeah, I think everyone has hopefully seen our title of what we're going to talk about today. We're still in our self-love series, and today's topic is forgiveness, but specifically forgiving ourselves and the value of letting go.
And the value of letting go. So come in and say where you're from and come and say hello to us, because we'd love to hear from you. Let us know that you're watching and where you're from and how you're feeling today, really, or tonight if you're in America. We'll just talk a little bit. We'll again introduce ourselves and tell you how we work. Lauren, would you like to just explain how you work?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Sure, happy to. So Cher and I have joined Magical Forces because we do the same thing, but we also do different things, and we're experts in our kind of different niches. And myself, I would consider myself an intuitive energy medicine practitioner, which means I've been certified in Reiki, so I will use Reiki techniques to channel source energy through my body, through my hands, directing it at the client, healing their past, healing emotions, healing traumas, healing physical illness as well. I also do essential oil consultations because I feel really close to Earth Mother, and being able to use what she naturally gives us as cures and treatments. And so I have a passion for introducing people to the power of essential oils. And yes, I am also a psychic medium. I do intuitive readings, connecting people to their loved ones and to help answer questions, direct in the right direction. So that's a little bit about me.
And you can see Lauren at laurenapplewood.com if you're looking for her. Go check her out. That's her website. Okay, so I'm a psychic medium, Wiccan witch, or Gothic Wiccan witch. I've been able to touch spirits since I was a child, and I've honed my abilities to now being a successful medium. I also do a bit of forensic psychic mediumship, which is how that works is I've been able to assist people that have been missing, have had relatives or loved ones that have gone missing or have suicided or death by misadventure, and I've been able to give them closure in that realm. And so that's actually part of my bliss, is doing that. And yes, so that's just a little bit about me. You can find more out about me on SherSlaterMedium.com. We love what we do. Lauren and I absolutely love what we do, and we're here to answer any questions. If you have any questions, please just put them in the chat, and we're happy to answer any questions that we can.
Thank you, Dana, so much for joining us. I see this is a favorite topic of yours, which, is why we felt called to talk about this topic of forgiving ourselves, because when we don't forgive ourselves for bad decisions or things that we may have done in the past, we actually continue to carry forward those negative emotions, the guilt, the shame, the shoulda, woulda, coulda, into our future relationships. And that's why this topic is so important, because all of us spiritual workers, light workers, are on a journey of bettering ourselves and developing. And this is a huge part of moving on and continuing your evolutionary process.
That's right.
As a spirit.
We're so passionate about forgiveness, aren't we, Lauren? We're just absolutely passionate, because if we feel that we really need to bring, as we do, our reality, and that we're not immune from the same things that everybody else has to deal with. Just because we're psychic mediums doesn't mean that we don't also, we have that humanality about us, that we also have the same things. And hopefully by talking about it, we touch you and or resonate something within you that we can help, because that's our passion and that's what we love doing. Isn't it, Lauren?
Amen, Cher. You're right on. You're right on the point. And God, forgiveness is a touchy subject, because a lot of people think that by forgiving, or for either forgiving ourselves or most especially forgiving someone else, they somehow think it implies that we are okay with the behavior, and that's not what forgiveness is about. It's acknowledging what happened, yes, what you did, acknowledging, and then letting it go. Right. Letting it go. And later we're going to talk about tips and tricks on how to do these things, because we could talk all we want about forgiveness and, oh, isn't it amazing on the other side of the tracks, but what we really want people to understand is just those simple little steps to start the process of forgiveness.
Yes, and it's important to start that. And it's almost like you're I was going to say evoking it, but yeah, you're almost putting it out there. You're manifesting that you actually want to forgive yourself for whatever it is. And it could be just a small thing. It could be a large thing. It could be a relationship. It could be just something. But, and Lauren and I will talk about it further down as we get along. But there is a process of letting it go, because if you don't, we believe that it'll manifest into perhaps something bigger. So, which we will also talk about further as we go along.
Thank you, Cher. Thank you. I'm so excited. I just want to jump to the end.
I know we both want to just get to the end, but we know there's a process that we all go through with part of acceptance of the forgiveness, and there's all different stages in that forgiveness, and we both just want to get to the end, but it is a process.
Yeah, give me the answers, how I do it, and then I'm signing off. Well, there's more to it than that, and a lot of it has to do actually with understanding what is forgiveness. What even is that word? What does it mean? Again, when a lot of people think of it, they think of it's okaying. It's agreeing with the behavior as being okay. I forgive you. It's not that. Forgiveness, it's an act of kindness for ourselves. It's an act of kindness, and it is actually done to find peace in our lives. It's not just happens. It's actually a deliberate process that the individual has to go through.
It's also an act of self-love. It's an act of self-love too, Lauren, isn't it? It's an act of self-love. And we're on the self-love series. It's an absolute act of self-love.
It is probably one of the biggest things you can do to love yourself, is to forgive yourself. And this forgiveness feeling can come and go. You may not always be okay with and forgiving yourself for past behavior. You may be up and down. You may one day be thinking, God, I really regret that. The next day, I forgive myself for that. I'm moving on. And that's okay. This is a process that we all go through.
Yeah, it's a big roller coaster, isn't it, Lauren? Like, we go through the stages. It's almost like a grieving. We go through the hurt, and we go through the anger, and then we go through the resentment, and then we go through the loss, and then it's like a grieving process. It's a mourning that we all go through, and unfortunately, we all do go through that process to get to the end, where we can release it and let it go. And that's the beauty of it. But it is that process, and it can be a shockingly hard process at times, can't it, Lauren?
Yes, basically, to be in forgiveness, what that means is it's a willingness to drop the narrative, the narrative or the story that you've created about yourself. It's a willingness to drop it. are you saying to yourself, like, God, I'm such a terrible person. I can't believe I did that. Da, 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 da. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If only, if only. But if you go into that forgiveness energy and think of it as a willingness to let that go, let that story go, let that story go that I suck. Oh God, I'm not that good. I'm not as good as so-and-so. Why this, why that? Let it go. Let it go. It's happened. It's happened. You know, forgiveness also means that we kind of stop that. I think you might relate to this. I know everyone. The shoulda, woulda, coulda. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. God, if I only had said this instead of that. Oh God, I should have done this. Boy. I should have. Really? That's not a progressive or moving forward pattern to go forward with. And Dana brings up a good point. She's asking,
She does.
how is it easier to forgive others than ourselves? That's why we're talking about this topic.
That's why we're talking
today,
about it.
Yeah,
because it is easier to forgive someone else. It is easier to forgive because we're so damn hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves, and by not forgiving ourselves, we're really not standing in our truth. We're really not being true to ourselves. We're happy to forgive someone else for whatever, we're happy to send it out, but we're not happy to accept it back in. And that's all about self-love and reaching that point and going, well, hang on a moment. I am bloody worthy of this. I am worthy of forgiveness. I'm handing it out to that partner yes, I'm handing forgiveness to that partner, but hang on a moment, because I'm worthy too. I'm worthy of unconditional love. I hand that out, and I hand you out forgiveness, but I'm also worthy of that.
That's right. And we were talking about this earlier, Cher,
how
we tend to focus and give more to others than we do give ourselves. Especially us women and those with the feminine energy. We're givers, we're caretakers, we are problem solvers. We want to help, we want to solve your problem, right?
Yes.
And then amongst all that, we forget about ourselves and our needs and ourselves, our souls. We also need forgiveness. And there's certain situations where, even let's say you hurt someone by the words that you said the other day. Maybe that person won't forgive you. Maybe they're not ready to forgive you. You know what? That's okay. Because what you're going to do is forgive yourself first. Forgive yourself first. And then it doesn't matter what that other person thinks or wants from you, because you've acknowledged that you did wrong and you're willing to move on to the next thing.
It's about setting the intention, isn't it, Lauren? It's about setting the intention to forgive yourself. If the other person doesn't want to accept it, that's their path. But this is your path, and nothing more empowering than standing in your truth and being able to accept and acknowledge what you've done and seek forgiveness within yourself. And for there is the true love of you and the true self. And that's you being your true self. And that's what Lauren and I, are so passionate about. And this is what we love doing. This is why we love talking about this subject, because it's a very heavy subject, really, isn't it, Lauren?
Oh, it's so heavy because all of us have done things in our lives that we regret, that we wish were different. Some of us may have let those events go on much longer than others and have had all sorts of negative effects in our lives. And it's so easy to get down on ourselves. Why? Because honestly, we are our worst critic. No matter what, not our parents, not our friends, us, on ourselves. We are our worst critic. And if you're like me, you may have feelings of that you want to be perfectionist or be perfect. And so some of the things that we want to go through a few examples of what we might be forgiving ourselves for, because again, this is a heavy topic, and some people may have a hard time thinking through this, like, well, what do I need to forgive myself for? I mean, there's all sorts of things. Forgive yourself for not being perfect, for not getting that A+ in class, for not getting that promotion that you wanted, for not winning, for not getting it on the first try. Forgive yourself for eating those box of cookies last night, or having that extra glass of wine. Yeah. Forgive yourself for not sending that wedding present or that card to someone that you love. Forgive yourself for surrounding yourself with toxic people, maybe longer than you want to.
Yeah.
Also, it's important that we forgive ourselves for behavior that we may feel guilty or shameful about. Behavior that may have negatively affected another person, or even a bad decision that we made.
Forgive yourself for not letting the dog out to the bathroom. It could be as simple as that. In the middle of the night. It's just forgiveness of everything. Forgiveness for not, picking your children up on time. Forgiveness for not answering the phone for that your parents are calling. Forgiveness, just the small things.
Yeah.
Just the small things. But they all manifest. They all build up within us and then we start feeling sick about this, don't we? It just builds up. It builds up because we're the biggest pressure on ourselves. We're the biggest pressure on ourselves. But there is forgiveness as well, because you're actually putting pressure on yourself. So there is the forgiveness for putting the pressure on yourself in the first place.
And the reason that forgiveness of ourselves is so important is because of the effects that guilt and shame have, not only on our physical bodies, but on our mental state as well. Those emotions, guilt, shame, regret, they're actually lower vibrational patterns. Joy, love, forgiveness, happiness, those are higher vibrational feelings. And so what happens is, if we carry that guilt and shame for too long, it can cause distance in our relationships and actually in our perception of ourselves as well.
Yeah, because it's a direct reflection of ourselves. Don't forget that if we're carrying all that baggage, then the relationships that you're going to form is actually a reflection of yourself. So if you're carrying that heavy baggage, you're going to invite somebody perhaps in that also has that heavy baggage. So it no longer serves you to carry that. Then drop those bags and release it, because it will manifest into the physical. If you're carrying these heavy bags, then it will manifest into the physical, and it can give you lots of physical symptoms. And so,
it sounds like you're mentioning the law of attraction.
The law of attraction, almost. It is, because it's a reflection. It is, because you're actually reflecting what out. It's all energetically. We all work energetically. As a witch, I work energetically. So everything we say, do, speak, type, write, think goes out to the universe and comes back to you threefold. So if you're looking for a partner, then that is then projecting out. That's what you want in your world. So you're going to create these environments and toxic people that do come into your realm and do have the same issues as you, because you're reflecting it out. It's coming back at you. And so that's the beauty of forgiveness, is that once you can do that and work that on yourself, then you're at peace. You feel lighter. You feel love. You feel happiness, almost bliss. Because you're not carrying that heavy backpack on your back anymore. You're bloody releasing it and letting go of it. And so you're much lighter, you're freer, you're able to love yourself for who you really are. And therefore that is like a law of attraction. You will get that love back in. It's a direct reflection of yourself. It's like looking in the mirror.
Wow. Yeah, you make a very good point, because, when you're feeling these or having these thoughts, it's all energy. It's all going out into the universe. It's not staying right here.
No.
It's not. It's going out. And
yes.
Those lower vibrations are going to attract people of lower vibration. people
That's
with
right.
the same type of issues that you have. And so,
Right.
you know, some people might be asking right now, well, what if I don't believe it? What if I don't believe that I deserve forgiveness? Or, you know, if I say something like, I forgive you, Lauren, for that decision you made the other day. I know that in my experience, in the beginning, when I first started this practice, I was like laughing, like, oh, right, come on, you forgive yourself. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel. Why? Because it wasn't how I was used to being. I was used to being so hard, so critical on myself, so perfectionistic, that when I start to bring in the concept of forgiveness into my life, at first it was, you don't deserve. How could you deserve that, Lauren? You need to be working harder. You need to be doing more. And this sense of guilt that is kind of innately built in me. And that's just me personally. But the other thing that will help people decide whether they want to be in a space of forgiveness or in a space of being critical is think about what forgiveness feels like in your body. And think about what guilt and shame feels like in your body. And those particular emotions, guilt and shame, come out very similar to anxiety, which would be, lots of muscle tension, headaches, GI issues even, and a lack of focus and concentration, because we're just, stuck on that story, stuck on repeat. Oh, if I should have done, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yes, and the other things is that we might even overeat or overindulge, Lauren. We start manifesting it into the physical. Not only does it make us feel sick and we get the headaches and the backaches and the whatever aches, and we're not sleeping, or we're overindulging in things that we don't normally overindulge. It will manifest. It does manifest into the physical.
It does, and
it does.
A part of my practice and what I bring to my clients is helping them understand that emotions just don't come and go. They just don't come in and out. What they do is emotions actually store in our physical body, in our various organ systems.
Yes.
And so that's why it's so important to move your body every day. It doesn't have to be going for a run. It doesn't have to be swimming. It doesn't have to be something huge. But what you do want to do is move around, just keep the spiral going, the movement going, because that's going with the flow. That's going with the flow of life. That's going with change. And we don't want to stay stuck, right, in those negative emotions.
No.
Because we want to release them.
We want to release it. It's no longer serving us. So we want to release it out. And there's many ways that we can release it out, and we'll get onto those.
Yes.
Which we're kind of excited about getting onto.
Actually, I mean, it kind of brings us into our next topic anyway.
Yeah, I'm very excited about talking about releasing, because that's one of my favorite subjects.
Me too. I love all the different ways to release my
There's so many ways we can release, but as a witch, there's a lot of ways that we release as a witch.
Yes.
Wait, I'm kind of excited. I'm getting
I know. It's exciting, helping people understand, what we've been through, what works for us, right? What works for us.
And we're only saying what works for us and what we teach our clients as well. That's the magic that Lauren and I have, because we're real. We're the real deals, I guess. We're human, and we go through the same things that you guys go through, and that's why we bring these lives, just to show how real we are. So, yep. What are we up to, Lauren? Are we going on these releasing now?
Yeah. I think we should talk about a little bit, now that we understand what forgiveness is, things that we might be forgiving ourselves for. It's important to talk about how do we do that? How? Because it's one thing to hear from someone, you need to forgive yourself.
Yeah.
It's another thing to hear from someone how to do that. a lot of us don't know how.
No,
and
a lot of us don't.
There's several ways that we can go about this, but you need to forgive yourself when basically you can't stop playing that event over and over and over in your head and you feel guilty about it. That's the cue that I might need to forgive myself for something I did here. You want to let go of that situation, the guilt, the remorse. However, it's important, this is key right here, that you acknowledge your feelings as valid. So when I'm feeling guilty about something, don't try to stuff that guilt down, because what that guilt and shame is showing you is that there's something amiss. There's something wrong here. I may have done something that was not with my highest good. So don't get rid of those feelings, but because they're showing you something, you want to look at that. You also want to admit that you messed up. Yeah, I messed up. I didn't let the dog out in time and he went all over my rug. Now, am I going to be upset at the dog? Upset at myself? I'm not going to be upset at anyone because it's happened. It's in the past. And I'm going to forgive myself. You know what, Lauren? I'm sorry. You were busy, you were doing something else, and of course you forgot to let the dog out. How could it be any other way? Your mind was over here thinking of all these other things. That's one sort of thought process to go through on forgiving yourself in a sense. Yeah. You don't only just want to admit to yourself that you messed up, but if you hurt someone else, you're going to want to apologize to that person.
And apologize. And apologize to yourself, Lauren. If we're apologizing to somebody else, we need to also apologize to ourselves too, darling. Don't we?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And even writing yourself an apology. Writing it out. And then I think you may have a suggestion of burning it afterwards, or as a way of releasing it, right?
Yes. Yeah, I have a great suggestion. You want me to show that now, Lauren?
Yes, please.
So the way I do it is, and I've done this in the past, particularly when I've had relationships in the past where I've sought myself and I've gone through the many processes of the mourning, and I've got to the point where I'm ready to forgive myself, but also release that person. And I've forgiven them and I send them unconditional love. So what I do is I write the name on a piece of paper or you can use a photograph of the particular person that you're going to release, because you're going to do this in an unconditional love. And this is a very witchy thing to do. So this is why I'm in my element doing it. So I've just brought my cauldron in just to show you my gorgeous.
I love that.
Yes. So in the cauldron, you can put the person's photograph or write their name on a piece of paper and you light it up. I suggest this is done outside, not inside, please. We don't want any fires inside. And outside's even better because it's releasing it to that particular person, or it could be even, the guilt. Write down what your guilt is. It doesn't even have to be a relationship or anything, but you can write down what the actual event is that's making you feel guilty about, and you just simply light it and pop it in the cauldron and let the smoke go and release it and send it with unconditional love. But it's best done outside. Please don't do that inside.
Just in case some smoke
I've done it inside and I've smoked out in the house. So, and you're not really releasing it. You have to open all the doors and windows. So it's best done outside because it's released to the universe. And the other little the other little witchy tip I have is also you can write the actual, if it's a relationship or if it's the actual guilt that you're feeling, just write it on a piece of paper, fold it up, and I leave it underneath my front door overnight. And then the next day I go for a big long drive to somewhere I've never been before, and I actually release it out the window. So it's a way of releasing it because it's no longer serving you. You no longer need that. So that's just two of my little witchy tips, which
I love
it. And that's releasing it. And let me tell you, it'll make you feel better after you do it. I've done that lots and lots of times. And then, of course, you clear your home. For us witches, we go and sage everything and just completely clear out your home. And when saging, open all your doors and windows and everything, and then you'll feel so much lighter. You'll feel freer, and if it's a relationship, you've actually released that person. And unconditional love, but it's also releasing that from yourself, and it's just a beautiful way of doing it. And I've done it not only with relationships, but with the guilt that I've held before. I've burnt it in the cauldrons, taken it outside, or put it under the door. I've done lots of witchy little things that assist to help release it, and you do feel lighter and happier, and it's great, and it's good fun.
You do, and why is that? Is because you are setting that intention.
You're setting the intention. Yes, absolutely.
Intention is so important, which we talked about on our last.
Yes. Otherwise, you have to come to me for a boot up the bum.
Oh my God, she's bringing out her boot, folks.
I'm bringing out the boot, guys. Here we go again.
No, oh my God, watch out.
Watch out. You'll be coming to Cher for a great big boot up the bum otherwise.
And some of us need that, Cher.
From the heart. From my unconditional
heart. To do that. She loves to do that. But it's only because we like to get to the heart of the issue for you right away.
Yeah.
And we give what we get.
Yes.
We don't sugarcoat.
No. We get to your core. Like with me, I know Lauren does the same. We get straight to your core. We get straight in there. And yes, we do it with unconditional love. But with me, it'll be a size whatever with the heels, boot up the bum.
Yeah.
But it'll be done with unconditional love because we do love you and we are passionate about what we talk about. And it is for your highest good, because that's our intention, is just to bring that through with your highest good and leave you feeling lighter and freer, so that you don't need to carry these bags. You can put them down, because it doesn't serve you to carry them through life. Life's too short. Life's too short. We talk to the
and our higher selves want us to forgive our younger selves, want us to forgive ourselves for making decisions that we may not make today.
Yes.
I've changed dramatically over the last 10, 15 years, and I would not be making the same choices that I made 15 years ago today. And why is that? Because life has happened, and I've grown, and I've learned, and all sorts of things have happened that have shown me that a lot of the decisions that I made were not for my highest good. But you know what? If I look at my younger self as, oh God, how could you have done that? Oh, Lauren, I wish you would have made other choices. Because look, you went down that wrong path for quite a while. Took you a while to get back on, and I could beat myself up for that. I could say all this wasted time, all the people that I hurt, or I could choose to say, you know what? That's in the past. Today is today. Today is the present. And in the present moment, I have the power to choose. I don't have the power to change the past. The past has happened. So it serves me best to not only just accept the past, accept what I did, accept those choices and the people I surrounded myself with. And I've got all sorts of life experience in this arena. Or I could say, Lauren, I forgive you for making those choices. How could you have made a different choice at that time with the knowledge that you knew at the time? How could it have been any different? And that is a compassionate way of looking at yourself and at your past. Of course I acted that way. Of course I did. And you know what? I forgive myself for that, because I'm a better person today. I'm a different person today. And I make different choices for myself.
Yeah, we've all done things from our past, Lauren, that we have that guilt about, and but it's also taught you some lessons, hasn't it? Like it's the same as me. It's taught us some valuable lessons, which are the blessings, really, for us to go through that, and that's part of the forgiveness as well. It's part of the forgiveness. Yes, we've all done things in our past, and let me tell you, I look at my past and I go, goodness me, have I done some things in my past, and now how I've evolved and transformed into who I am. Yes, that is my past, and yes, I've forgiven a lot of my past of what's happened there to be the transformational person that stands before you today. And the same as Lauren, she's very much that way. We've worked on ourselves, we've gone through those processes, and believe us, we still feel guilty about certain things, even as we speak. Lauren and I, just before we went on air, had some things and we're going, oh gosh, here we are feeling guilty about that. And then we're going, well, we have to release that. It's not in our highest good at the moment to hold on to that. We have to release that and move forward and acknowledge that that's happened. And that's the process. That's the process, isn't it, Lauren?
Yeah, and I do actually, you bring up something I want to touch on really quick.
Yep.
Which is the difference between justified guilt and unjustified guilt.
Yes.
Okay, there is a difference. In my experience, I will feel guilty for everything. For not doing this, for not being like this, for not being on time. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Or for not calling my dad back in time. And, oh, look what happened because I didn't call him back. Is that guilt justified? And this is where you need to ask yourself this question, which is, if I behave this way, is it against my moral code and value? That would be justified guilt if you acted against your own moral code or value.
That's right.
So missing a call from my dad because I was busy doing other things and now I feel guilty about it. Is that really justified guilt? No, I didn't go against my moral code by not answering his calls or not calling him back right away, because I'm in the middle of doing something else, living my life. But that guilt will come in. Lauren, look, you should have done that. You should have answered, because now look what's going on. Now look what's happening.
Yes.
It as you go through life, it becomes easier and easier and easier to forgive yourself for all those unjustified guilt feelings. And it takes practice. I'm sorry. You're going to have to put in the work.
Yeah, you have to put in the work, and you have to put in the intention. You have to put in the intention, and you do have to put in the work. And it's not an easy road. It's not an easy road. Lauren was talking about her dad, the same, with my mum. If my mum calls or my children call and oops, I didn't get to it, yes, there's a certain guilt. But it's not in our highest good to hold that. We'll get to them when we can. It's not that we can't call them back. We will call them back. But it's not in our highest good to hold all of that, because it will manifest into that physical form, and then it's just going to make it run down, really, Lauren, isn't it? It's
too short. Again, it brings out those shoulda, woulda, coulda. I should have done this, and then you're critical on yourself.
Perpetuates and perpetuates and perpetuates.
A loop.
Yep, exactly.
And then you can't get out of it.
And then you can't get out of it.
It takes work, Cher. It honestly takes work to actively bring ourselves out of these emotional patterns. And a lot of people think that they're victim to these emotions. I can't control it. It's just some people are just in a constant state of reacting.
Yes, they are. But in fact, we're the most powerful ones on the planet. We're the ones that are doing it to ourselves. So in fact, we're the powerhouse. We're the ones that is bringing that into us. If we can't forgive ourselves, why are we forgiving ourselves? Because we're the powerhouse here.
Right.
We're the ones that's in control of it. We're in control of our whole life. So why are we doing that? And why are we doing that to ourselves?
And it's not like maybe the other person isn't giving me hell for it. They're not giving me a hard time. Who's
No.
giving me a hard time? Me, myself is giving me a hard time. And you know, it's like, I'm gonna suggest that we start handling ourselves and connecting with ourselves like
Yes.
one of our best friends would talk with us.
Yes.
Think about how your best friend would talk to you if you said, "Oh God, I didn't call my dad back in time, and now I feel really guilty," and you know, da da da. What would your best friend say? They wouldn't say, "Yeah, you're terrible. You should feel guilty about yourself." You know, "Oh God, look what you did. Better do better next time." You know,
Better do better next time. No.
We don't talk to each other like that, do we, Cher?
No, look, Lauren and I certainly do not talk that way to each other. And if you know, we talk with unconditional love to each other. So therefore, if we're talking unconditional love to each other and to our friends and our families and our loved ones, then why are we not taking that unconditional love in and forgiving ourselves? Because
beautiful point, Cher.
Because for there is the bliss. And I don't know how many times, you know, Lauren and I have done a couple of lives now and we talk about it. And I say to Lauren, get the mirror and stand in front of the mirror and say, I'm worthy. I'm worthy of unconditional love. I am unconditional love. I send unconditional love. I accept unconditional love. For there I am unconditional love. Do that every day, stand in front of the mirror. And that's part of your healing process. Part of this forgiveness is being able to accept that within yourself. It's all self-love. The more you give back in, the more it will go out. And let me tell you,
we do have to say it repeatedly.
We say it repeatedly.
It's not just to say it a one time and my life is changed.
Every morning, get up in the morning, and when you're doing your hair in the mirror or putting your makeup on or whatever you're doing, you know, just say it then and say it out loud if you need.
Make it a routine. You have to make it a routine. Stick it into your daily routine. Just like I have a certain affirmation playlist that I'll stick on as I'm showering, getting ready for the day. It's an amazing way to start your day. Start your day by reprogramming your brain.
Reprogramming. And your vibration will lift because that whole lightness comes up and it lifts up and that goes out. And let me tell you, the power of that makes you not the most sexiest person on the planet. Let me tell you.
It does. Now, but Cher, why, can you tell us why someone would want to raise their vibration? I know it's kind of becoming more mainstream to hear the word vibration, to hear the word raise your vibration. Why?
Look, I think it just makes you feel lighter and happier and repeat it until part of you truly believe it. Dana's just raised something beautiful. Sorry, I've just stopped for a moment. Dana said, repeat it until it is part of you and you truly believe it. Totally true. So yes, by raising your vibration, I feel it just makes you, and it's just a term really, but for us, I think that it's a lightness that we feel. It makes us feel happier. It makes us feel loved and the love of us. And therefore, I do feel that does energetically go out to people that you meet and your interactions with others. And that's how I feel with raising that vibration. And it's very much a technical term and it's overused a bit, Lauren, but I do feel like that it is sort of the energy. It's the energy that we put out.
It's the energy. And we're not going to get into the scientific data around the energy because you guys can do all the research you want on your own about it. But it is true, and it is a fact. There are low vibrations, there's high vibrations, and you want to personally be in a state of a higher vibrational setting. Why? Because that's going to attract more positive things into your life. It's actually going to set you apart from other people. You may interact with these people, see them throughout your day, but as a higher vibrational being, those people actually won't come near you. They won't interact with you. Why? Because you have set your intention and have practiced raising your vibration higher above all these negative emotions and things that are sitting down here in the primordial soup, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it won't affect you so much either, Lauren, because it's like putting in a piece of steel in front of you, really.
Absolutely.
It's actually our protection. So you'll only have that positive energy coming in, which is what you want, because that's where your light is. That's what makes you happy. That's what makes us float instead of.
And there's all sorts of ways to change our vibration, but today we're specifically talking about kind of changing our mindset from a lower vibrational thought process of, you know, guilt, shame, regret, and pulling ourselves out of that to a higher vibrational thought pattern of I'm amazing, I am worthy, I am awesome. You know, and yes, you can acknowledge this happened and this happened and I did this and this and this, but I am the bee's knees, and I want everyone to feel that way about themselves, have that confidence. And so
there is the power within yourself. Once you do that, there is the power within yourself, and there's many ways to be able to release that and to gain your power back, because really you're actually by holding on to that guilt and not forgiving yourself, you're actually handing your power over to somebody else or to whatever you're not forgiving yourself for. You're handing that power and that energy into that. So the more you stand within yourself and love yourself for who you truly are and forgive yourself, the more power that you'll have for yourself, which is ultimately what we want. We want to feel energetically empowered and uplifted and light. And that's what it's all about. And I just saw one of my candles. Another thing is you can write something on a candle. These are my little candles, and burn them down. I think that's another way of releasing as well. Sorry, I just saw that, Lauren. You know me, always the witch.
Of course. Hey, we got to mention what we get. You know?
Spirit works. So Spirit just drew me my little
Spirit
spell.
makes sure that we say what we need to say, and if that means interrupting the other person to get the message out,
it's done out of love.
We totally get it.
Lauren and I just do this out of love. We talk to each other like this all the time, so we love doing this.
So I wanted to ask our audience and just anyone who's watching at this point we've imagined what guilt and shame feels like. We know that feels bad. It's a lower vibration, but I want you all to imagine what forgiveness feels like. What does that feel like in your body? You know, ask yourself, what are you letting happen in your life that's not for your highest good? And then ask yourself, can you forgive yourself for allowing that thing and for participating in that? And just sit with that for a moment. Think where you've been not acting for your highest good and what it would feel like to forgive yourself. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel in a lighter space? Or does it feel more heavy? It might be different for every person. But what I will say, and again, this is, you know, scientifically proven, positive thought patterns, higher vibration than negative thought patterns. So I want people to think and to visualize a scene in which you're forgiven. What does that feel like in your body? What emotions come up? You do ultimately want to familiarize yourself with these different emotional patterns because they have different vibrational rates. And the more we can get in tune with what that feels like in our body, what does that feel like? Do you get a knot in your gut? Do you all of a sudden feel excited? Do you all of a sudden get a smile on your face? You know?
Does it feel like a warm hug, Lauren? Does it feel like a warm hug when you forgive yourself? You know, it feels like a warm hug. That. I know. I'm wrapping my arms around you, Lauren. I nearly called you Lozzie. I'm wrapping my arms around you. You know, and that's what it feels like. You know, I just want to sometimes wrap my arms around Lozzie because that's what forgiveness feels like. It's like getting a great big hug from someone else, but in fact, you're imagining that you're getting a hug giving a hug to yourself, because that's what it is. And then it's
Oh.
the lightness and the love. But it can be different
beautiful.
for everybody. Sorry, I just felt that.
I love it. I'll take a hug from you anytime.
I know.
Cher.
Me too. All the way to America. It's energetically.
It is. And hey, let's touch on that. You know, I, as a distance healer, you do not have to be right in front of me.
No, that's
in my
right.
House
I know, we feel it.
An energetic difference in your
That's
aura.
right. Yes, Lauren's excellent. That you can feel the energy. Let me tell you, when Lauren and I talk energetically, we heal each other, and that's done over thousands and thousands of kilometers and through the internet, as now we are doing now. And let me tell you, we feel energetically what each other's feeling. And yes,
and it's
Dana,
not any weaker.
It's not any weaker.
No.
And yes, Dana, it's like wrapping yourself up in a warm blanket. Exactly.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So beautiful.
And who doesn't want to be inside of a nice warm blanket, comfy and cozy and protected?
Yes. Yeah.
It's forgiveness is hard sometimes, because we've been taught and brought up to be critical of ourselves, and actually to compare ourselves to everyone else.
Yes.
And that's what I know you've spent some of your lifetime doing. I've spent a lot of my lifetime doing, is comparing myself to other people, and why am I not good at this, and why can't I be like this person? And it's a journey. It's a process of finding what your gifts are.
Yes, and I
think those gifts.
I really feel like Lauren and I have these conversations off air, and I must say that, you know, I'm the same, you know, and I think the thing that I've learned along the way is not ever to compare your magic to anybody else, and that comes from my heart, because all of us are very unique in the way we are. We're all unique here on this plane. We are spirit in the body, and if you can get to a place where you actually believe in your own magic, and I'm talking about the magic of you, then for there is the gift, and for there is your bliss, because, you know, I won't ever compare myself to anybody else's magic, because I know how unique they are and how amazing they are. And that's about acceptance as well, isn't it, Lauren? And Lauren has her magic, I have my magic, and whoever comes into our world have their own magic. So it's the magic of what's inside of you. And so therefore, if you can reach that place, and that does take time to reach that place and finding your own magic, for there will be your bliss.
Yeah, and we help people find their magic.
And we help people.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. There is nothing higher for me than for me to sit opposite somebody, to be able to help them find their magic. And that's my absolute bliss, and the same as Lauren. Lauren does the same thing. So yes, it is absolutely our bliss to be able to do that.
We may have different routes that we take to get our client there, because, you know, like you said, we both have our unique magic, our unique abilities.
Yes.
But we help people get there through, you know, clearing energetic blockages, clearing old thought patterns, giving them a little boot up the bum.
Boot up the bum. Done with love for the last time tonight. I'm showing my boot.
But it's all with love. It's all love.
Always with love.
White light, pure compassion, unconditional love. And if you can learn to not only send unconditional love to others, but send that to yourself.
Which is what we were talking about earlier. Blessed be.
Blessed be. That is our message today. That's
our message today, guys.
And that's what our series is about. We want to keep talking about self-love and all the various ways that we can love ourselves, because a change in this world has to start with the individual, has to start with us. We have to change ourselves first, change our thought patterns, change the way we behave, if we expect to see that change out in the world.
Yes, and it's all about manifesting, Lauren, which brings us another segue into next week, which is, we've saved the best till last, Lauren. We're going to be talking about manifesting next week. So tune in to us next week. If you want to see, have you got anything further to add, my darling?
I don't think so. I mean, we really
We've covered all the bases, and we're very excited next week about talking about manifesting. It's one of my favorite subjects to talk about as a witch. It's my biggest thing, and Lauren is too, because it's manifesting all of that. So
it's all about intention and
all about
energy
intention
and being clear.
And being clear, and it's a new moon coming, so more appropriate timing is it's all been heaven sent and sent from spirit, and blessed be the goddess. So if you want to visit us, our website, my website's SherSlaterMedium.com. Come and check me out. Otherwise, go and see gorgeous Lauren, LaurenApplewood.com. Drop her a line, go and check her site out.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Have a beautiful evening, everybody, and a lovely afternoon from Australia. Sending all of our love to everybody around the world. And remember, I'm unconditional love, worthy of unconditional love, and we're sending unconditional love and receiving unconditional love. All right, guys.
Beautiful.
Blessed
Thank
be.
you, Cher. Thank you.
Thanks, darling. Thanks, Lauren.
Have a great evening, everyone.
Have a
We'll
great
see you next
evening.
week.
See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.